be joining us. I hope anyway. He's going to give us a call here pretty soon. Ooh, I hope this quality gets a little better. So what's everybody doing tonight? For those of you that didn't get to make it to any of the events, I am stuck here at the house working as usual. But we're going to make the best of it regardless. So there's a few things that I wanted to discuss with you guys tonight, and one of those is going to be parts availability and things like that. Also, some new stuff coming down the pipeline with Anderson Ford Motorsports. So hopefully we will get a phone call here pretty soon. What's going on, Sam? How's the quality? Because it looks like crap on my end. Just got back, so congratulations, Sean. Says just got back from my wedding shower. Awesome. Just got back from Chocolate Fox. So how many of you guys made it to Chocolate Fox? And hope you had a good time. If you did, like I said, I'm stuck here working normal stuff. And also, look, guys, we're not going to be on super long tonight. I have to get up early in the morning and go to work, but quality is okay. All right, I guess it's on my end. We got some new internet last night, and my wife was up. I was already in bed, and she was up trying to get that the internet stuff sorted out. So it's always something, I swear. Let's see, get you guys backed up here real quick. Yep, there we go. That'll work. Which taillights are on the Carbon Fox? The Carbon Fox, hey, look at that. Hello.
Mr. Nakia, how you doing, my friend?
Doing pretty good, pretty good. We are live.
Excellent.
So, guys, we got Donnie B in the house, Anderson Ford Motorsports. Most of you know him. And all we're going to do tonight is just kind of chill out, okay? Hang out. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and hit Donnie up. I think we got a few things we want to cover as well with parts availability and some things like that, correct?
Yep, we can go over kind of the state of the union in regards to performance parts if you'd like. I know there's been some talk about, obviously, the Holley Terminator X Fox body kits taking a hike from Holley's repertoire, and we can talk about that. I believe Holley, actually, we can kind of start off with that if you'd like.
Yeah.
For people that, there's been some questions, and I talked to Matt at Leach Motorsports. I don't know if Matt's tuned in yet, or Cody, or one of them. But the question kind of is why? Why did Holley get rid of it? Is it because of like issues with it or anything like that? And the main answer to that is no. But okay. The reasoning behind it has kind of been hush-hush until I think recently, because I think people, when they call Holley and they talk to their people and they ask them directly, hey, why is this thing going away? They're actually answering the real answer. But essentially what it has to do, and I'm not going to say it specifically because I don't want to, put anything down. I don't want to get flagged for anything. Essentially what it is, it's government. And I'll just leave it at that.
I got you. Well, and, look, we all kind of knew we were headed down this path. So, hopefully we can enjoy this at least for a little while longer. But, yeah, I kind of figured that. But, so there are, as of right now, though, there are workarounds, right? You can still get it. It's just not a plug and play.
That's correct. And the key thing is, and you'll probably notice this with any of the Holley kits, what's the main difference? This is kind of like, it's not really a question for anybody. It's more just like putting it out there. What's the main difference between the Universal Ford kit and the Fox body kit? Well, obviously it's for a Fox body.
Yeah.
And you associate Fox bodies with a certain model year, well, that's where they get you. And Fox bodies, unfortunately, the 86 through 93 cars, well, they all had, emissions equipment on there, and, any little thing now can get you zapped. So that's why Holley is still selling every single component with the exception of a few, because I did some research right when I found out that these things were going away. I did some research to see if I could actually still piece together one of these kits. And the answer is yes, minus a few things like the inputs and outputs harness that comes in that kit. That you cannot buy that separately from Holley. There's no the part number to like our business portal. We cannot purchase that. The little airline adapters, also like a goofy little thing like that, they don't sell separately. So the kit is like 95% complete through separate part numbers. But guys, guess what? I priced it all together just in today's prices before any markups. It's over $2,000 for a box body kit if you price it by itself. So, yeah, that's why, you know, if you can get your hands on one, if you're even contemplating getting one, now is the time to do it, because you can still get them for sub $1,500. And I know LMR is already out of them. I think there's still a few places that have actually on the shelf stock units. We made a decision last year, back when there's a ton of back orders in regards to the Holleys, because we would get probably, you know, we'd order about 5 to 10 at a time, because they are expensive even for a business to buy them.
Yeah.
And, you know, we don't just stock those alone. You know, we got to spend our money elsewhere too. But we made a decision as a company, and yes, we are a small company, so cash is important. We went ahead and decided to, okay, let's go ahead and spend some real money and actually stockpile a year's supply worth of these things, just, you know, based on the trends and the numbers we were selling previously. So we can just, you know, that way, if anyone else goes on back order, we'll be ahead of the curve and actually have them on the shelf. Well, no, this, of course, then this happens and we're sitting pretty good. Now, granted, they've sold a lot faster now that they're gone, and my supply for a year is more looking like probably maybe 2 months at this point.
Gotcha. All right, and just to clarify, guys, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about the availability of the Terminator X, or the lack thereof. We got Donnie B on the phone from Anderson Ford Motorsports, and you can always go back and rewatch this video, okay, this live stream. It will be posted. We wanted to basically just make the public aware that the Terminator X, as we know it, is going away for the Fox bodies. Now, Donnie B over at Anderson Ford Motorsports still has some, okay? They have the Holley. Listen to me. And I'm not pushing anything, because they will be sold regardless. If you are contemplating a Terminator X for your Fox body, buy it now. You'll never hear me say this. Put it on a credit card. Do whatever you've got to do. If you want one and you got your heart set on it, you better get it now. These things are going to sell out regardless, guys, so it really doesn't matter. But if you want one, you better get it, okay? We don't know what the future is going to hold for tuning in general. I don't think any of us can really speak on that, but I don't know that it's going to always be this easy, okay? I think this may be one of the first signs of that, so just be aware of that. Well, with that being said, Donnie, what are some other options that people would have as far as tuning their car?
Well, looking at the comment from the Real Fox Body Addicts, it says time to call the guys at Leach Motorsports and get those stock computers tuned. Guys, Matt at Leach, you know, really stand-up guy, excellent people to work with. They're a dealer of ours now too, and I talked to Matt a few times and everything. And yeah, if you got a stock EEC that you're still looking to maybe do like a modes chip or something like that, or if your setup is not too rowdy where you don't need, I mean, the main thing to get a Holley for is because it's got the additional pieces you can attach to it and have the Holley control. Like your stock EEC cannot control a fan. It just can't do that. They can't do, you can't wire in the additional stuff that a Holley can. So that's where your main benefit is.
Yep.
But if you've got like a simple heads cam intake or even a blower, like Nikia's Retro Fox, you know, heads cam intake with one of our Anderson Vortec supercharger kits on it, and it is, you know, it's got a Modes quarter horse chip, and I think Brutal can attest to this. His car probably runs excellent, and with just the stock computer and a Modes chip from Matt.
It does. It runs great, guys. And I recommend that as an option, okay? I know everybody's different. A lot of guys want to get away from their stock computer and things like that. As of right now, and this is something I want you guys to think about. As of right now, once what we have sells out, right? you're not going to be able to buy a computer with a complete wiring harness like you were, like everybody was used to with the Holley. Let me give you an example here. Now, this is a megasquirt, right? This thing can control fans and do a lot of other stuff, but you still have to use your factory wiring harness. So my point in saying this is, once the Holley Terminator X's are gone, that at least the way we know them, you're going to have to rely on your factory wiring harness. So there are some options, but this is. I'm not going to tell you this is a great option right now. I'm working with Matt at Leach Motorsports, and we're going to try to dive into this and see if we can't figure out the idle air control issue with these, okay? But I can't make any promises. But there again, as Donnie B is saying, you still have options. The Moch quarter horse is a really good deal, or you don't even have to have the whole quarter horse. You can get a chip burn. They can do that for you. You're not dead in the water as of right now, guys, but listen to me. If you're wanting a Holley Terminator X, you better go ahead and get it now. I have mine. I'm good. I honestly, for everything that I'm going to pretty much, need out of a car, the quarter horse will work for me. But I am glad that I do have one.
Yeah, and there's a comment here from Puzzle Fox 5.0 that says, he's asking, is it the same story for the Terminator X for a Coyote swap? The answer to that is no. It's only the Fox Body specific for 86 to 93 cars, because those are specific to a vehicle. The Terminator X Coyote swap, you could put that in like a 1974 F100 or something like that. Those cars didn't have emissions, so therefore they'd be exempt. So you got to think of it that way. All the Holley kits, like Mod Motor, Holley Terminator kits, even Universal Ford, TFI stuff, that's all still going to be available. But the Fox Body specific stuff is the only thing that's gone. Even service parts, like say your ECU takes a dump, well, you can get another replacement ECU. Your wideband goes bad, you can get another wideband. All the connectors are essentially GM, because that's Holley's bread and butter. Yep. You can get all the service replacement parts, and you can still get full kits for like Universal, but they're not vehicle specific. So that's how you got to think of it. But like Bruto was saying, the Moch quarter horse and the Microsquirt, Megasquirt. Yep. I also want to mention, I don't know if you guys are subscribed to House of Dula, but he just went on a remote tuning session with a guy named Steve, and I can't not remember his last name, so my apologies for that. And there are some people out there that have that system figured out. Yep. And I wish I would have spent more time on it, because I put out a few videos talking about some of the basics. And I really wish I would have dived into it more, because that's a good economical system. And, it's you're talking like less than $600 for the whole setup. Yep. And thanks, Leach. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we got Leach in. We got Leach in the house, guys.
So guys, there seems to be more and more resources now for the megasquirt, microsquirt out there. I wouldn't be surprised if that helps. Once the Terminator X's are gone, and you're only buying them on the secondhand market, that these things take off again. And, the more the merrier, you like competition, you like having more products available for our cars.
That's true.
This stuff exists, why we're still able to modify cars.
That's true. Hey, did you guys see the post from, what is their actual, it's a DIY Auto Tune, I think is what they go by. But did you guys see the post on Facebook? Where they're back promoting this. I think they knew this was coming. I'm telling you, I've never seen anything from them, and they are advertising like crazy now. So, hey guys, I'm good with whatever, okay? There's a few issues that we want to try to figure out with this, but other than that, this is a really good system. This is probably, to me, the most user-friendly startup. Like, if you're not used to tuning, you probably don't want to start with a quarter horse with binary editor, in my personal opinion. The Holley, it's pretty good. This, to me, though, was easier to learn. Now, there are some options in here that are not the best, but for the most part, it's a good system. And the Microsquirt will save you a lot of money and do the same thing. So, T-Top Thomas, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. He says, what's up, my people? T-Top Thomas is always good on the channel here. He's always on watching. Hey, Donnie, while you're here, because, man, the cam questions are coming, bro. They're coming. We've already got one. And somebody was asking, is an N41 a good street cam?
As long as you got at least 373 gears, and this is the car's manual, of course. If it's got 373 gears, it won't buck on you too bad between probably 15 and 2,000 RPMs, 1,500 and 2,000 RPMs. That's if you've got like a stock 273 gear or like a 308, 327. If you're trying to cruise in fourth gear in a parking lot, only turning like 12 to 1,500 RPM, it's going to want to jump on you because that cam likes to be above 2,000.
Yeah, and a B cam will do the same thing for you guys too. So just so you know, right? These are things that you have to do. You need gears if you're going to run a cam in one of these cars.
Yeah, but to answer the question overall, yes, the N41, especially for a stock 302, I mean, that cam was developed for probably the majority of the guys that do the GT40 setups or like a stock E7 302 with valve spring upgrade. That's what that cam was designed for. It'll work great with like a set of triple flow 170s because the lift and duration on it isn't too extreme, so it will still clear stock pistons and the stock and those valves in there and stuff like that. So yes, it's a great street cam, but yeah, it's you're sacrificing a little bit of drivability below 2,000 RPM if you don't have a rear end gear.
There you go, guys. All right, so I got to give a shout out to AGTWNC. Thank you so much. He says whoop whoop. And we also got Superfly Garage. That's my man right there. He's always commenting. He says, what's up, my brother? Everything is good. Ford Matt 77 in the house. Thank you so much. He says, what's up, Fox fam? Hit us with the $50. Thank you guys so much. You know you don't have to donate, but it is greatly appreciated. Donnie, why I got you on the phone, let's because, man, I know this is what everybody wants to talk about is cams. Cams. I've got an AOD car, okay? Let's use the Carbon Fox as an example because most everybody knows what we have. I'll go through it real quick with you. 306, Canfield 192cc heads. What's the intake I have? The Systemax. Systemax intake, 24-pound injectors, headers, 410 gears, and a little stall. What cam would you recommend? I know we have to always check piston to valve clearance, guys, okay? You always got to check that. But what would be a good cam that you would recommend for an AOD setup like that?
For street, our N412 or the N412 is what I like to call it. The cam is essentially an N41, but the lobe separation of a B31. So it gives you kind of the best of both worlds for setups. You can cruise around with like a 355 gear. You don't have to go with something super tall. So having 410s, you said you had 410s, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, with 410s, it's more than enough gear. A small stall. There was actually a car that I was tuning recently. It was a 91 hatch AOD, small stall. Heck, it still had like Cali converters on it, which is kind of funny. But just a set of like your old school like X302 heads, stock 302, and we put the N412 in it. And yeah, that thing would just idle down to like 1,400 RPM, not buck at all, come to a stop, not surge or anything like that. It's a good mid-range power cam, and then it's got good street manners. So if you're trying to cruise around, have a nice little chop at idle, nothing crazy, but it's it still sounds good. It's still a good performer. So yeah, for your combo, an N412, so you don't lose any drivability, but it still gives you a little bit more gusto than like that trick flow stage 1 you got.
Donnie B, are you telling me that we're gonna have to do one of these cams in this car? Is that what we're gonna have to do, guys?
Confirm nor deny your cam situation.
Yes. So guys, we will be looking into that. I have to be careful with my piston to valve clearance, okay? Because my heads have been shaved. I think we're good based off of my measurements, but I'll talk with Donnie in the future and we may come up with something. All right.
I did see a few questions in there.
Yeah.
I think that I saw some cam questions in there. And also, I think there was a power pipe question in there too. So
I'll let you take the reins.
Let's see if I can track that down real quick because I want to try and answer some questions. And another thing, guys, I want to talk about how just kind of like a brief history of Anderson Ford Motorsport, guys. I've been working there for almost 3 years. And I know a lot of the history of the company, but like all the little details going back like in the late 90s, early 2000s, some of that stuff I haven't really got caught up on. But I still talk to the main guy who used to run it, Rick Anderson.
Yep.
He actually works for Holley, and He's actually, well, I shouldn't even say this, but he's kind of a reason why that Terminator X existed for the Fox body. Anyway,
That's pretty cool.
So I know a lot about what was going on in the past for Anderson Ford Motorsport, but you know, Anderson used to be big in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like they used to have like a full staff of like 10 people, and
Yep.
back when the financial crisis hit in like in 07, 08, and then people were starting to hold on to the money a little bit tighter, you know, for good reason. The department started getting smaller and smaller. And you guys have probably noticed in my videos, if you watched any of the videos while I'm at Anderson, there's not a lot of people around me doing a lot of stuff. That's because the staff consists of me, myself, and I. As the main guy there. There is another guy that backs me up because he's actually the OE parts manager for the dealership, and he backs me up because he's been there longer, so he knows some of the motorsport stuff. But essentially, it's just two guys. And there's another guy who runs the shop that does works with the installs for performance parts and also runs the dyno. So we are very small, and I try to divvy up my time as equally as possible to be out in the warehouse shipping stuff, getting stuff put together and shipped, and also be on the phone. I try to pride myself in at least trying to call people back when they call me.
He does.
But lately it's been so crazy just because it's like the thought process is like, hey, you already got an order with us, you're checking the status, you want to give us a call, cool, I'm cool with that. And then of course emails are coming in, and then I still gotta get stuff shipped out. So guys, if you don't happen to reach me, don't take it personally. It's just that the staff is small, and I gotta try and get stuff out and answer emails and answer phone calls. So for the people that understand, thank you very much. That means a lot to me, because my background before coming to Anderson was all in the corporate world, especially on the service side. And so I understand what customer service means, and you know that means a lot that people understand the situation that we're in right now in regards. But anyway, so yeah, I was looking at some comments here. Someone was asking about a power pipe question, and it just dropped again. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Here we go. Power pipe that works with a 65 millimeter throttle body, Pro-Am mass air, and stock air box. The Pro-Am mass air meter, who said that? The only question I have is about the mass air meter. What size mass air? Are we talking 75 mil? One Sir Carlton. Is that a 75 millimeter Pro-Am? Or is that like the Pro-Am 80? Oh wait, no, you said stock air box. So it'd have to be a 75.
Yeah.
The 0104C, that power pipe was developed for like stock throttle bodies and stock style mass airs, the bullet style meters. And so that's what that power pipe was developed for. So that should work with your combo, but it would actually get rid of your stock air box and put your air cleaner in the inner fender well. It comes with an air cleaner too.
There you go, guys. Yep. They also offer the budget-friendly power pipe like I have on this car, and that thing works really good as well. It doesn't put the filter over in the fender well, which I do recommend to get it over there, get it away from the heat. But I like the look of it, and it's just, I don't know, I love the look. So they do offer that as well. We also have Handling Motorsports in the house, and he says support small businesses, and that is correct, guys. That's what we're trying to do here, right? We're all a community. I love the small businesses. I do, which you guys know. I mean, I work with LMR as well. Love those guys. But what I'm trying to say is we have an awesome community, and there is enough of you guys to spread the wealth. Okay, I promise you there is. But with that being said, why don't we see if we can't overwhelm Donnie B with some more orders? How about that? That'd be pretty cool, right? So let's go ahead and get some stuff ordered up. If, like I said, if you guys want those Terminator X's, do you know of anybody else that has any available though? I know LMR is sold out, right?
Yeah, one of my other distributors that I use is out, but I think Summit still has them, and I think they're still selling them for the old retail.
There you
go.
So
if you want to save yourself some money, go ahead and get them from Summit. I think Summit still has some.
All right, cool deal.
In regards to I don't know if CJ Coney Parts ever carried them. I don't know if they just did a drop ship situation. But I don't think they did. Or if they did, they didn't carry that very many.
I don't think they did. So we get this question all the time, and I understand that you can't say that this will work. Based off your knowledge, what is the biggest cam you guys offer that will work with a stock bottom end setup? Let's assume you have stock heads, okay? Stock heads, stock bottom end.
Stock E7, we're talking 87 to 93. Guys, real quick, 86 cars, I'm sorry, we do not offer a cam that works with stock 86 pistons. They do not have valve reliefs. I believe back in the day, Rick actually developed one, speed density cam, but it really didn't go anywhere. And so that one went by the wayside. I don't even have any of the old spec numbers from those. Oh yeah, and there's a question I got. Brutal, try to remind me. There's a question out there about why Anderson is so secretive about their specs.
Yes.
I find that kind of funny, but I do want to address that here in just a second. But anyway, 86 cars, we do not offer a cam that works with stock pistons and the stock E6 head. So 87 to 93 cars, the biggest cam on a stock piston stock head is the N51HR. But the key to that camshaft is you have to degree it properly, because it does have a little bit more lip than what it normally allows to clear. But the N51HR, if it's degreed properly, will actually clear. But that cam is pretty rowdy for a stock head and stock bottom end setup. So that is the absolute biggest cam that we offer, even though we haven't had one on the shelf for over a year. But that thing is not street friendly. It's for the guys that want to take it and just max effort on a GT40 headed or like iron head stock piston and just let her eat kind of deal. So
yes. So what about GT40 heads? Just real quick, is it the same configuration? Do you run into any other issues, or will those work about the same as far as piston and valve?
Those work without a hitch on those. On pretty much the N412, N41, and N51HR. N51HR just has that little asterisk that you can't just put it in and line it up and call it a day. You have to actually check it.
There you go, guys. All right.
So Gary Carr just asked, does the power pipe and filter ship to California? Gary, I'm sorry, buddy, but California is pretty much axed off the list of anything we're shipping.
Yeah.
With the government cracking down on a lot of different businesses and stuff like that, and pretty much anything that goes to California is almost like flag number one. So I think last year is when we stopped shipping to California.
Yep.
But there's still some dealers out there that sell our stuff that will ship to California. That way it's on them. Sucks to say it, and I know we lost a lot of business when they made that decision, but it just is what it is. Sometimes we just got to cover our own butts.
There you go. Real quick, T-Top Thomas. So he says, A9L tuning question. I know, LOL. So I have a quarter horse chip that was previously tuned by a reputable tuner, an on-3 turbo setup, which is the exact kit I have for my notch. So I'm not sure exactly. Let's see, when I install the setup, can the chip be installed and good to go, or does it have to be retuned? If you have a similar setup, you should be able to at least start it up and run off that, if that's what you're asking. Guys, now, Leach Motorsports, great guys. I recommend them to everybody, but there's only 2 of them, maybe 3. I think they have somebody else that helps out. They're a little overwhelmed. Yeah, a little overwhelmed at the moment, but if you got any tuning questions like that and you want to get your car tuned by them, guys, give them a call. There are other tuners out there. I'm not saying that they're the only ones, but you guys know that we do work with Matt and Cody over at Leach Motorsports. Donnie B, did you want to address the other thing we were talking about? The cams. Why are you guys so secretive, man?
I know. We got those specs locked in a lockbox and hidden under concrete.
Nobody knows them. So I actually know the answer to this, because I had.
So I found out, because I was a little confused by it when I first started. My boss was asking me, "Hey, are you giving away the specs to the cams?" And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? Like, if someone calls in and wants to know, I just tell them." Well, then they went over the whole story. But anyway, here's what it comes down to. Back in the day, Crane used to grind Anderson's cams. Back when Crane was still big. And Crane, the old PMS system from Anderson, that was the Crane, what they call it, That was that crane that system that used to sell. That used to just look like an old calculator.
Yeah.
That's what the PMS was turned into because we bought the rights from it. But anyway, so the cams, Crane was grinding those for us. Well, Anderson didn't own the exclusive rights to those cams, so guess who was, sending that off to the highest bidder, essentially?
Yeah.
Well, you guys know what the Trick Flow Stage 2 cam is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Anderson used to have a camshaft called the B4, just B as in boy, number 4. You guys line up those specs, they're identical. So when Anderson moved on to the next place, and again, guys, this is a long time ago, they decided to make sure they had exclusive rights to the cam specs themselves, which includes the low profiles, and therefore that way no one could sell them out from under them and run into that issue again where all of a sudden another company is calling an Anderson B4 cam a Trick Flow Stage 2 cam. Now, I'm not telling you guys that Trick Flow went in and bought out the rights or anything like that. No, that's not what happened. But essentially, you can see how that would, start a snowball effect where those specs are, are accessible to other companies and they can label it as their own.
Mm-hmm.
No, I get it. I understand it. So that's when, Rick back in the day said, no, we're not doing that again. We're going to make sure that our new grinds are ours only. And they did not give out the specs back to that because they were still worried and paranoid that other companies were going to, take those specs and run with them.
Yep.
Guys, that's not the issue anymore. A lot of that stuff was, you're talking like early 2000s, back when there wasn't as many options. Now our specs are easy to find, and if you can't find them online, you can call me. I have no problem going over those specs. It's not a big deal anymore because there's those specs. Again, you can go to someone that's bought a cam and get the cam card and see what the specs are.
That's right.
So it's not a big secret anymore. They're not listed on the website because there's still a setup in regards to the original, what was it? I saw the paperwork. There's some like contract or whatever where we can't display them on the website.
Mm-hmm.
That's why LMR doesn't display them either. But we can still go over them in detail. It's not a big problem.
No.
That's not the only secret sauce behind the cams either. It's actually low profiles and stuff like that in regards to ramp speed and the timing events at a certain degree. So there's a lot more to it than just like, your duration, advertised duration at 50 and lift. There's still a lot more behind it, but the main stuff that like 90% of the people are asking about, no problem. We can go over it with you guys. Not a big deal.
Yep.
So that's my story about that. Take it for what you will, but that's all there is. And hope that guys answers any questions about the secret story behind the lockbox of cam specs.
Look, man, that's something that everybody has talked about for years and years. I'm going to say this, okay? I think it's badass that we don't know all that stuff. I think it's what's made Anderson cam so sought after and just so mysterious. I know that wasn't the intent, but to me, Anderson cams have always just, I don't know, they had this mystery about them, right? That's the way I feel about it. Listen, I understand it's aggravating. It was aggravating whenever I was looking, trying to figure out what are the specs for this cam? Will it work? Well, you call up Donnie B and he will let you know the information that you need to know. One of the biggest things that you're going to run into issue-wise is like, will it clear this particular setup? Now, if you look on LMR and pretty much anywhere, you guys do a pretty good job of letting you know if this will work with stock pistons. This head, these pistons, I've noticed that that's covered pretty good. And really and truly, that's really what I needed to know back in the day. So at least that information's out there. You can't be exact on it because every setup's different, but they do try to help you guys out with that.
Yeah, on the website we list out pretty much all the major like popular combos that are tried and true. And so like that does answer your question again. Yeah, give me a call, shoot me an email. Tell me your combo, and we should be able to get you in the ballpark. But the big problem right now though is, we can set you up with the best cam for your combo, but I may not have that cam on the shelf in who knows how long. Right now, my shelves are pretty sad looking. The only thing I have in stock at this moment, as we sit right here, May 14th, 2022, is a couple N412s and a couple N41s.
Dude,
that's it.
Well, you better put me one back because now they're going to be gone. So, all right, you heard it. That's what they got on the shelf right now. They can still get cams. All right, so we've been told to be quiet for 2 seconds. All right, guys, I know we just got a lot of information that we want to get out to you guys. I'd love to sit here and answer all of your questions because we have the man, I promise you, on with us right now. So I think I mentioned this before, but I used to watch Donnie B's channel. I don't even know if he really knows that, but man, I used to watch his channel a lot back whenever he did his turbo setup, had the megasquirt. Oh yeah, I was peeping his channel out. I was learning how to tweak and how to tune and stuff. So very knowledgeable. Donnie B's been around for a while, been in the game for a long time. Is an FMU?
I appreciate that.
Yes,
Appreciate that. And,
absolutely.
Yep, my quality is pretty much matched the same, except I've gotten a little better at editing. But it's
man.
pretty much the same stuff you see back then that you see now.
I loved it, dude. I watched everything you put out. Real quick, Cherokee asked, is an FMU absolutely necessary running 40-pound injectors and being supercharged on a 347? Well, that's kind of a loaded question, but Donnie B, you want to take this one?
If you're stock ECU and you're running over 7 pounds of boost, yes, you'll want an FMU because you want the fuel pressure to spike up to keep up fuel pressure in the rail for the injector to squirt fuel.
Okay.
So yes, now anything below like 7 pounds of boost, you should have more than enough pressure at the 40 psi or what have you to be able to keep up with the demand that the fuel load needs.
So should I not tell them what I'm doing with my car then? Because that is. So now, what about a custom tune? Do you still recommend the FMU if you're going with, say, a 340 pump and a custom tune?
No, if you're tuned, you're good.
All right.
Yeah, because you can control all that. I'm saying if you're stock computer, no tune.
Okay. There we go.
Because there's nothing to increase fuel pressure under boost. So
there you go.
You need that thing to spike up so that way it keeps the pressure in the rail at the demand. Anything over like that boost level.
Yep. And
they
work.
If you got a custom tune, like the way that, like say for your Retro Fox with Matt tuning your car, he took care of that in the tune.
That's right. Good deal. All right. Yes, these cam specs are like finding Jimmy Hoffa. Sorry, guys. That's what's so awesome about Anderson cams. What do you guys recommend for a road racing application? So that's staying up in high RPMs.
Yep. Not anything with an HR series. If it's naturally aspirated, go with like a N51 HR because it's that was designed for the HR stands for high rev. It's got a low profile in it that, like, with the duration, it carries the power up into higher RPM and keeps your power there. If you're boosted, got the B31HR and the B41HR. Those cams are all designed to be high revers and keep the power band in the 4,000 to 6,500 RPM range.
Yes. And the real Fox Body addicts, you are absolutely correct. He's saying to T-Top Thomas, you'll be in good hands with Leach, and you will be. Look, I want to say something real quick. I have to be careful with this, but Leach Motorsports is, how can I say this? So hold on, Donnie. I have to be very careful here. It's about to be a permanent thing. Let's just say that. I don't know if anything's been announced officially yet, but let's just say that Matt should be able to take on a little more work here pretty soon. So I'm really proud of those guys, and I'll just say congratulations to the guys over at Leach Motorsports. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Let's see what else we got. Do you see anything else you want to answer?
I saw a few things in there. Let me scroll back up. Try not to miss. I know I've been missing people, so I do apologize. What cam do you recommend with stock bottom end 302 with trick flow 170 heads and 1.7 rockers? J Dollar, the N21.
There you go.
That will work with stock bottom end pistons from any 87 to 95 car with trick flow 170s with a 202 valves. The N21.
There you go.
You'll be ready to rock and roll. That's naturally aspirated.
I love it, guys. That's why I wanted Donnie on here, because he knows this stuff. Man, we could do a whole live stream with nothing but cam talk. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Let's while we're here on the subject, what are some common questions that maybe you run across that maybe you get on a daily basis that you would like to go ahead and address now when it comes to cams? Something that you hear that comes across a pretty good bit.
Well, to be honest, the biggest question is when you're going to have them.
Yeah.
And guys, unfortunately, we're in the situation where I don't think it's any big secret. If you look at all the major cam manufacturers out there, and guess what? They're all facing the same issue. Well, the major issue is blanks. There's no cores, no brand new cores in the United States right now to do like a mass like shipment of big cams or anything like that. So, and of course, we're a small company, but we do, usually buy a good amount at a time. And then the company that grinds them for us here in the U.S., they usually will try and get us something, so that we're not just sitting there twiddling our thumbs. But by the time I actually get something for the shelf, it's already been sold. For example, I just got some B31 cams in the other day. Well, all of them were sold to previous people that already just placed an order for them.
All right, Donnie. Look, brother, you got to hold me one of those cams back, and we may just go ahead and do that. I think I should be good on valve springs.
Do you know what valve springs are on it?
I don't know, to be honest with you, but I think I'm good. I really don't know. Okay. But that's something.
Well, you'll know real quick if you start getting valve flow about 5,500.
Yep, absolutely. So Format77 says, Donnie B, we appreciate all your help. Yes, we do.
I appreciate that. Real Fox Body Addicts, I'm curious what Me thinks of the E-Cam. The E-Cam is a good, like, just street-friendly, choppity-chop cam. That's like one of those cams that makes some noise. Performance-wise, it'll do better than stock. It will do better than stock. But I remember, I had a trick flow stage 1 in my 88 that I had. But I was either going to get the E or the trick flow stage 1 because I wanted some chop. I wanted to be able to drive it around still. So it's still a good cam for a stock engine. It'll still have good driving manners and stuff. It still sound good at idle. Especially if you don't want something that's like too rowdy, you still want to just cruise around in.
Yep, absolutely. I like an E-Cam. E-Cam to me always sounds like it hits a little quicker. A B-Cam, man, if you set the B-Cam up right, and I say set it up right, if you do some tweaks to it, like we've covered in some of the videos before, that B-Cam will hit. Like, you'd be surprised.
Oh, yeah. Those things, they get that 110 lobe separation, and they don't have a ton of lift, but they're designed to sound like you got something pretty nasty under the hood, even if it's a stock 302.
Hey guys, check it out. So the retro is retro, right? This thing, other than the heads, which you could pretty much probably compare those to like a, what was the old heads everybody used to run? The old aluminum heads when the X303, wasn't it? What were those heads?
X302 or what was the other ones?
X302.
GT40X?
Yeah, the GT40X. Yeah. So, like, that's about the equivalent with these heads. We have the B-Cam, the Hartman intake, the supercharger. Guys, listen, this thing runs like a champ with the B-Cam in it. It really does. I'm not going to sit here and say that the B-Cam makes, great power or anything like that. I basically just did it for nostalgic purposes, to be honest with you. But it does great. It does really good. Let's see. All right, so boosted real quick. You got a supercharger on your car. Should you bother going with the B or just go with the naturally aspirated? Does it matter?
You're talking about efficiency at that point. Boost cams work great with boost because they don't have as much overlap, obviously. That was the design, to be able to hold the boost in and actually use it instead of lose it. So is it worth it? I don't know. Is 20 to 25 horsepower difference worth it to you?
See, these guys know.
Another common question I get is, hey, will my N41 still work in a supercharged application? The answer is yes. It's still going to work. It's still going to work great. But you put a B31 in that thing, and it's going to turn into a different animal, especially at higher RPM, where it's using that boost to the max. So
there you go.
You got to just determine if it's worth it to you to do a cam swap. Like for my car, my 87 that's got the turbo on it, we developed a new cam back when we could still get cams. I still have it in the box. It's going to be called the B41T. It's a turbo-specific cam for all the turbo guys out there. So it has something that's not as aggressive at idle, but it's gonna, it's gonna do really well on on a turbo car. I haven't installed it yet, but the reason I want to install it is because I want to see how good it is versus the, your standard boost-friendly cam. So that is gonna come to our catalog, I guess you can say, at some point, but I can't guarantee when it's gonna come now because it's I don't want to tear my car apart and be like, oh crap, I need something here, and wait, months while my car is down. Kind of like when Neo has his live stream and talks about, just get your car back together, get it off the jack stands. I don't want my car to sit for months torn apart because I'm waiting for some part, trying to test something out right now. It's just, it's not in the cards. No. But yeah, you guys just got to determine, is it worth it to you to be efficient for your combo and make the extra horsepower versus keeping the cam that you got and just rocking and rolling with it.
That's right. And Dave, the fixer says GT40X. Yeah, the turbo swirl heads. That's what I was actually talking about. Neo called it. So we got Neo in the house as well. What's up, everybody? What do you think about your B21 cam? So Andrew has the B21, and I can tell you this. Now, I have never seen this happen before. That car is completely bone stock. I mean, completely. Stock headers and everything, stock intake. We put the B21 cam in that car with roller rockers, and the car was quicker. Honestly, I didn't expect that. Typically, you throw a cam in a bone stock car, it's not really going to do a whole lot. His car was quicker. That's all I can say, and it sounds nasty, so I like the B21.
Yeah, B21, that's a boost cam.
Yeah.
Also, so if Andrew ever decides to throw, and Nitrous too, I should say that too. I know keep glancing over that, but it is Nitrous friendly and boost friendly. So if Andrew throws, say, like one of those V3 Vortex on there, or decides to throw like 100, 150 shot at it, I think he's going to love it.
Hey, do you have any supercharger kits in stock at the moment?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. You got your power pipes in stock?
All my popular power pipes are actually in stock, like the 105s, the 30.5 inch that go into the fender well. That's the one LMR sells the most of. Okay. So I usually take that as like our meter for how popular they are. Yes, we have those. We have the 104s. We have the 4-inch naturally aspirated ones. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh yeah, the 106s, which are the big boost power pipe ones for the Mondo bypass valve. Those are in stock now again. Yeah, pretty much all of our big popular Fox Buddy ones are on the shelf.
There you go, guys. Let's see. So Neo said he made almost 800 horsepower with the B31. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, the B31s is no joke. It's you set it up right with the proper valve springs and everything. Yeah, those cams will exceed the limits of what they advertise, just because of the load design and stuff like that. So you can rip a B31, big power, no problem.
So
and we got cams that can make it easier too. I just can't get them on the shelf.
Yeah. So a B31 you use 1.6 and a B21 you use 1.7 roller rockers. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got 89 GT 5.0 says can't wait to fire mine up with the B31. So congratulations on that, man. You're going to like it. I can tell you that. Actually, you're going to love it. Mine was sitting on flats. So Mustang Guy 6501 says, mine was sitting on flats, but I pumped them up and going to be working on her soon. Well, congratulations there. Mustang Guy 6501 is a buddy of mine that we met at Ford Takeover last year. By the way, are you going to be there this year?
I am not going to be. I am all in on prepping our annual car show.
Yeah.
Here in July, I'm still putting stuff together again. I'm a party of one on a lot of this stuff, so my focus is entirely getting our show up to speed.
I completely understand. Big shout out to Bama 5.0, by the way.
I do want to attend some of the Fox Body specific events because I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yep, they are for sure. Big shout out to Bama 5.0. He lives right down the road. He says he wants to see that upper intake in person. Man, we need to meet up at some point because I pass by you all the time. Let's see. Oh crap! I just lost it. Okay, right here. T Perry 84 says stage 1 with the nitrous setup. What are your thoughts?
Stage 1, what, cam?
Trick flow, I guess.
Trick flow stage 1. Depends on how big of a shot. Did he say how big the shot was? I didn't see it.
He didn't say. I'd figure probably a 75 to 125.
Okay. Yeah, anything above, like, say, 100, you're starting to peak its efficiency range of, like, any of the naturally aspirated cams. A trick flow stage 2 is more of the boost. Like I said, it's the exact same specs as the old Anderson B4, which is a boost cam. So you're going to be, if you try to push too much past like 125, you're outside that efficiency. So if you're on a dyno to like measure horsepower, you'd probably see the biggest gains sticking between 100 and 125 shot in that can.
There you go. T-Top Thomas, we'll see you, man. Thank you so much. There again, guys, we got Neo Mustangs in the house. Bill Pay says, Trick Flow Stage 2 with an on-3 turbo. Probably all right.
Yeah, good combo. Make sure it's got good valve springs on the heads you're using, and yeah, rock and roll.
There you go. Let's see. Do you have any roller rockers in stock?
Yes, I have.
The Harlan Sharps.
We made a deal a couple years back with Harlan Sharp to make us rockers specific for the heads that we sell. So depending on what cylinder heads you're running, we got those. And then if you're looking for a budget-friendly option, we also sell PRWs.
There you go, guys.
Which are made overseas, but we've had pretty good luck with them. So Harlan Sharps are expensive because they're made here in the U.S. And those are the ones that I'm running on my car. They're the bright anodized orange ones. They look pretty cool, even though you'll never see them once they're covered up with valve covers. But we usually have those on the shelf.
There you go. Greg says, actually, I have no questions. You guys rock. Well, thank you, man. I wanted to go ahead and cover a lot of the common questions that I get. I wanted to ask Donnie while I got him on the phone. Also, look, the power pipe situation, if you're like me, is confusing, okay? I can't look. I have to call Donnie. Anytime I'm going through any of this stuff, I don't know what adapter or this, like what mass air meter is going to... You call him. I know he's a busy man, but he can answer these questions for you. Guys, don't just order stuff because you think it'll work. Some of this stuff is a little tricky, okay? But he can point you in the right direction, so call up Donnie B, and like I said, he can get you what you need. I always just, I'm like, hey, man, look, I want this power pipe. What mass air meter do I need to bolt all this stuff up? So.
Right. Yeah, 89 GT 5.0. I hope the trick flow heads actually show up. Boy, that's the question of the century, isn't it?
Yep.
I'm trying to remember the last time I actually had a set of trick flow 170s on the shelf. And yeah, the pain is real because I have so many of those that need to go out to my customers. And they're a great head, and yeah, and they're still cheaper than the AFR 165s.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting some trick flows back in stock too. It's been insane how backed up their foundry's been. Even with intake manifolds, it's just been nuts.
Look, guys, I hate to do this, but I just don't know if everybody fully understands what's going on right now. Parts are really hard to come by. The places just don't have them, okay? If you're thinking about doing something and you have the money, get your parts now. Get them now. I don't know how else to say it. Look, Anderson Motorsports, LMR, CJ Pony Parts, all these places are going to sell parts, okay? I'm not trying to hype this up or scare anybody. If you're paying attention, we're losing parts left and right, guys. They're just not there to get, so you better get them now. I know you guys have some shipments of stuff coming in, but it seems to be a little more sporadic now. And I would just hate for you guys to sit around and think that these parts are going to be on the shelf. That's why I've been asking Donnie, hey, do you have this? Hey, do you have that? And as you see, some of this stuff is just not on the shelf, okay? And it's that way for pretty much everybody.
Yeah, and not only that, I also want to piggyback and say this. Guys, what have we learned the last couple of years with COVID and everything? The price of everything has gone up so extreme. So make your dollar work for you more now versus later when things cost more. Then your dollar's not worth as much. It's the story of inflation, supply, demand, the whole business. But make your money work for you better now versus having to pay more for the same thing you're thinking about getting. And again, like Nakia just said, even if it's not for me, you know, and I used to do this a lot too, just trying to hunt who had the best price. Yeah. Well, now it's a hunt of who actually has it.
Yes.
So, guys, make your money work harder for you now versus down the road when you know it's going to be more expensive.
That's right. Look, all of your popular businesses are going to sell out first, typically, right? What you can do if you're searching for a part and you can't find it, you know, LMR doesn't have it, Anderson doesn't have it, Hanlon doesn't have it, whoever you're working with, right? They don't have the stuff. Go check out some, like when you're searching on Google, go to the second page, third page, fourth page. what you're going to do is you're going to run across some of the companies that aren't as well known, and they very well could have that part sitting on the shelf because they don't get as much traffic and as much business. Okay, so that's an option. I've had to do that before, and you'd be surprised at the places that have things when Summit and everybody else is sold out of it. Okay, so trust me, guys, it's getting bad. I mean, that's all I can tell you. I'm just trying to be as truthful as I can. Now, it may come back tomorrow. Well, we know it won't come back tomorrow, but it may come back real soon. But for right now, get your parts. That's all I can say.
Yep, I second that 100%. And the trends are not looking in our favor. I'll just put it that way.
Nah.
Because, I mean, I get to see, ask. I mean, the nice thing about me working where I work is that I usually get to have direct contact with suppliers and manufacturers. That I can ask them these questions. When is stuff coming, and like just realistically, I won't ask for the BS answer and say, hey, don't blow smoke up my butt. Just say, if it's not coming in 2 years, fine. I just want to know that so I can plan accordingly.
That's right.
And guys, the trends are just not in our favor. I'll just put it to you guys that way.
Yep. Well, let's just go ahead and say this. What am I still waiting on from you?
The AccuFab race throttle body, and I talked to the rep there, and they are actually going to be running the blanks for them this coming week.
Okay.
And then they go to assembly. So usually what that means is that they have all their blanks being CNC machined, and then they go to assembly to install the blade and install everything, and then they go to shipment. So we're probably at least another week to week and a half before that thing's shipped out.
Cool. All right, so what's the deal with the race throttle body? Do you mind covering that for everybody that doesn't understand the difference when we say a race throttle body or the 75mm race?
Sure, and also we're talking about a specific brand. We're talking about AccuFab. They have, out of all the throttle bodies that are out there that we've tested, and well, Brutal, you can attest to this, that the heavy whistling sound from some other throttle bodies out there, a lot of that is casting flash from other cheaper brands.
Yep.
But AccuFab seems to do the best on their machine quality and have the truest actual measurement of their actual throttle body inlets. So a race throttle body is essentially a 90mm opening that snakes down to your Venturi effect that funnels down to your blade size. So if you get a 75mm race throttle body, you have a 90mm opening with a 75mm blade, and if you look at the inside of the throttle body, it actually snakes down to that 75, so it's not like a sharp 90-degree turn or anything. So that way, if you're running, say, our 4-inch power pipe like Brutal is now on his Carbon Fox, he can take his insert out, run that true 4-inch all the way through, and that way it ventures down to the 75mm blade.
There you go, guys, and right here is the 4-inch without the adapter. So this would be able to go directly on that 90mm, and it snakes down to 75mm to match most intakes. But they also, so if you guys don't know, they also have this insert. Now this insert is still not enough for a stock throttle body, but it is enough for what, a 75mm? Your insert?
Yes. Yep, 75.
Okay, so if you have a 75mm and you're looking at this and you're thinking, oh my God, this isn't going to work, they do come with inserts here. And there is also a workaround further than that, because right now we have this on a stock throttle body. But what did that come on? The Vortec, the little sleeve, the little spacer? I think that come with the Vortec kit.
Yeah, it came on the Vortec one, so that way you can run like an 80mm mass air, or take that out and run like a 92mm mass air. Real quick, someone just asked, let's see, who was it? I just missed it. Someone asked about piston to bottom clearance, but the answer is for extra clearance, retard the cam 4 degrees. It'll shift your power band up in the higher RPMs, but give you extra clearance. And if it still doesn't clear, that's when I would actually, attack the piston and clearance the piston. But if you retard the cam, it'll give you additional intake clearance.
Man, I love this live stream. This has been so freaking helpful. I love it. I wanted to get some of these questions out of the way that I know you guys have, because there again, I've been there, right? Wondering, what's the deal with these cams? What works, what doesn't work? Well, we got the man on the phone right now. So there again, if we've not answered any of your questions, go ahead, ask them right now. We'll be on for probably about another 5 minutes or so. I'm going to try to get off about 9 o'clock here.
And just to piggyback again off that, in regards to cam questions and stuff like that, I know a lot about the Anderson stuff because I learned from the guy who helped develop them. So I didn't come into this knowing a bunch about camshafts. He just taught me the basics and how to make stuff work. Like if you've got piston valve clearance, what to do, or why our cams work in certain applications when other cams won't work in others, kind of deal. So it all came from knowledge, just me trying to soak up as much information from the original guy that did all this, you know, to help me just understand and be able to, you know, answer questions about the product. So that's why I know that kind of information, just because I learned from the source.
There you go. Also, when are your valve covers going to be back in stock, the Anderson valve covers?
Yeah, the boosted valve covers. My fabricator, he has enough material to make, I think it's going to be either 10 or 12 sets. I can't remember, and I think I already have 3 or 4 of them pre-sold.
Okay.
He's actually in the middle of, I'm trying to think of where he's at in line. My fabricator is just one guy also, and he's a local guy, so I bombarded him with all this power pipe metal, and he makes our fuel rails too. He does pretty much everything that's in regards to custom making stuff. And I think he's got 2 more things to do for either us or another customer of his, and then he's going to get on the valve covers. I think he's already assembled them, but he still has to make some more cuts and then weld everything back up. So we're probably still a couple weeks out on those at minimum before they go to powder coating.
Now, are those EFI friendly, or do you have to run a spacer?
Nope, those are EFI friendly. They are your standard, like, what's the best way to put it? They're like the sniper valve covers
Yep.
from Holley.
Yep.
They're the short, but they clear roller rockers because they have that bigger angle arch
Yep.
to them. And then they have the fill tube with the little nipple for running if you're still running your bent line going to your throttle body. But they have the AM fittings already welded, and they have the cut, the clearance, the inlet elbow of any supercharger you may have. So
There you go, guys. Listen.
they should be able to clear most roller rockers without any spacer. And if they do not clear, we sell those thick rubber steel line gaskets that usually give you additional like 1/8 inch clearance after the sandwich down. That gives you enough to clear pretty much any roller rocker setup.
There you go, guys. That's very important because good luck finding covers that will clear without having a spacer for your intake. So that's very well known right there. So the Anderson Ford Motorsport valve covers, when they're back in stock, are EFI friendly, meaning your upper intake, you can't run a tall valve cover without having to use a spacer. I personally don't like spacers. I know some of you don't mind. If you don't mind, then you can run a tall valve cover. I don't like the spacers. I like a short valve cover.
Yep, and they'll clear like the Edelbrock RPM2 without a spacer. I'm talking the intake manifold spacer right now.
Yeah.
They'll clear an RPM2, so like your Calypso clone,
Yeah.
they'll clear if you were to say ever run those valve covers. They should clear your Holley System Max if you ever introduce that vehicle. They will not clear a stock HO manifold. Cobras, I think, depending on if it's an aftermarket Chinese one or if it's an OE Ford one, usually you can either get away with one or the other. I can't remember which one at the moment. We had a customer car that had those, and he got away without running a spacer. I just can't remember which one it was. You'll know because if it says Ford Racing on the top of it, that's the aftermarket one. The OE Ford one just has the little thin-walled boss that goes across the top towards the throttle body. But yeah, you should not have to run any intake spacers with those valve covers unless it's like an OE HO style manifold. The trick flows, I think you can get away with all the trick flow track heats and street heats. I don't know because my 93 GT I just bought has a track heat on it. I'm going to test those valve covers on that because I got plans for that car too in the future.
I will say that the System X, and Donnie B, I'm not trying to overstep my boundaries here, but I will say with that System X, it is literally on top of the factory valve covers. So I'm not sure that it will clear. So are you sure on the System X that they'll clear?
These current valve covers should, yes.
Okay. Well, there you go. All right. So cool. Guys, there again, always kind of expect, because look, tolerances are different on everything, it seems. And if you've only got that much, your car may be a little different than the next car. So you may have to run a spacer. Anytime I get a valve cover like that, you know, I go to put it on, I do expect that I may have to run a short spacer. And they also make, do you guys sell the spacers? I know every intake's different, but do you sell any spacers for intakes?
Yep, sure do. Because the old valve covers we used to do, which were a universal tall one, we had to, I know you had a clear System X with those old ones because they were the old pitched roof design where they had 3 bends in them versus just the one solid long bend, which what the current ones are running. So yes, they're still clear at Edelbrock RPM 2 because that's what I'm running on my 87. But like a System X, yes, you'd have to run a 3/8 spacer and then it'd clear.
There you go. Donnie B, what's your car making now? What's your current setup?
Which one? The 87?
Yeah.
87 makes 535 wheel.
Stock block.
Yep, stock block 331. It does have a main girdle for all it's worth, you know.
Yeah.
There's some debate about that, but yeah, it's held together, and I don't treat it nicely whenever I drive it.
No, you never have. And that's what I love about it. Well, look, guys, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I've got to get inside, take a shower, get ready to go to work tomorrow. Donnie, man, thank you so much for coming on this live stream. It was perfect. It was awesome. I wish we could have answered more questions, but it is what it is. He's a busy man, and there's a lot of questions coming up. So.
Yeah, and real quick, someone just asked, Paul Tenho, is that French? I don't know. Anyway, he says, your ultimate top-end kit for Fox Body will be back in stock. The key to that kit, cylinder heads and intake manifolds, bud. And those are the 2 biggest question marks in the world, so I cannot tell you a date because most likely that date will be wrong. But anyway, Nakia, thanks so much for having me, man. It was, great chatting. Yep. I know I got on my soapbox a few times talking about stuff, and I tend to ramble.
It's fine. I do it too.
Yeah, so I wouldn't mind doing it again if people like this format. I hope everyone was able to hear me clearly, and if they'll have me back, I'd be happy to do it again.
Yep, absolutely, man. I think it worked out great. You guys, give me some feedback down below if you want to have Donnie B back on the channel. Thank you again to Handling Motorsports. Neo Mustangs is in the house.
Shout out to you, man.
Yep.
I'm going to be talking to you soon. I just bought another Mustang. That's why I haven't bought a TKX from you yet.
There we go. We might have to get those while they last too as well. All right, guys. Donnie, if you'll just hold on for a second, I'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
I'll catch you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching. This takes like 10